Alright, the first team we have today is the Metacooler team. Now, I'm going to put this precedent down in the beginning of the video. This is not looking at teams that you can craft by picking a free-to-play unit from this event and a free-to-play unit from this event. You know, it's specifically looking at what they've given us through the game's history of a full-fledged team. So, it's going to be a small list, and it's going to be the best ones, of course, because, quite frankly, they're the only ones we have. But the first one is going to be the Metacooler team. They were incredible on release. They could handle so much difficult content. Led by, you could lead them with the LR Int Metacoolers if you wanted to. Of course, you also could just use Fizz Metacooler, which I would recommend, of course. And again, that's kind of the same theme with a lot of these teams, is a lot of them are the main units that make up the team are free to play. But the leader generally will end up being a relevant unit. That's not the case for everyone on this list, but there are a few teams on here that do have that same theme with them. The Medical team was really fun, though. You could clear a ton of events with them. Of course, they all still struggled. I mean, they made sure that they weren't super strong, that you were able to just clear everything with them. But I mean, with enough luck and definitely with items, you probably could at the time that they came out. But again, they were nowhere near perfect. But the amount of damage they were doing and the ability to tank even post-super, like, they had some pretty impressive abilities with these Metacoolers. And overall, again, for just a free-to-play lineup that they gave us, it was very easy to grind, and they were extremely strong once you got them underneath. The next team is the team you get when you log in. The first time in Dokkan Battle now, they have created a new tutorial that allows you to go through the game and experience all kinds of themes. They allow you to basically introduce yourself to all their new content they have and everything. You know, they revamped it just to make sure that you have a better feeling of what modern day Dokkan looks like. And that is the Sand Saga team. That team is very, very good. I mean, they made it to make sure that you can clear tons of content, because there's so much content you have to get through when you start this game, and that you can get this done within like 15 minutes. I mean, it is not hard to get done at all. That the LR lead, the version Z Goku, is absolutely incredible. Super tanky. He can handle some even hard fights that we have, not today, but definitely during the 10th anniversary. I found myself using him a couple times during the Sand Saga missions. Very strong unit. There's, of course, some other units in there, like the Gohan and Piccolo, who are very strong as well. So, again, this team is a very good team. Again, if you're looking for units to grind, especially their free-to-play unit, a player who maybe just started during the Global Dokkan campaign, and you're looking for units to grind, for some reason you didn't grind these Sand Saga units, or you haven't completed those panel missions yet, I would 100% recommend that, because these guys are very strong. You're not going to get many free-to-play units that can perform at the level that they do, but of course, some of them are restricted to that lineup per se. A lot of them play off of the what you have already there. For example, like Shoutsu has a bond of friendship restriction, which is not terrible, but if you run the team, you're always going to get it. Same thing with the TN. But again, overall, these guys are an insanely strong group of people altogether. I mean, Yamcha has 70% damage reduction when you're under 50% HP, making a really strong asset. Overall, again, I can keep babbling about these units, but again, this is a very solid team if you want to look for a team to use in a lot of the content we have before this celebration, even 10th anniversary. I would say this is a good team to pick up. Alright, let's do the real reason why this video is a video right now. Let's look at the clones. These clones are some of my favorite free-to-play units of all time. A lot of people would agree with you. There's multiple reasons for that. One is because it's just a really good free-to-play team to have. But two, my other thing that I really enjoy about these units is the alt arts they have. You know, they have all the normal arts, and then you can unlock these alt arts that you can get for yourself. I think it's a really cool mechanic. I think it's something very small, but it's still pretty cool. Now, the clones are very strong. It just depends on which ones you use, of course. A physical one is definitely one of the stronger ones for sure, with that 50% damage reduction and guard, as long as you pick up a Fizz Key Spear. The STR one hits really hard, but he does lack some defensive capabilities. The tech one's really good due to his ability to completely nerf the crap out of opponents. If they are able to be debuffed, he is one of a very valuable unit to bring into your runs due to that. But outside of that, he's not going to be extremely tanky, but his 70% attack and defense lower when you run a full clone team is pretty impressive. The Int one's good. He does have a lot of support that he gives to the team, and he has a Scouter, but I still wouldn't say I would run him that often. He has guard, and that's good and all, but I wouldn't recommend running him unless you can debuff the crap out of the person you're fighting against. And then personally, my favorite one is the AGL one with the ability to have 90% dodge if you pick up a AGL Key Spear. Of course, it's per clone on the team, so you do need to run a full clone team for the 90%. But if you only run 2 clones, you could have a 78% dodge, so that's pretty good. Overall, again, this team is very incredible. You run in with the STR Rose lead, you just drop off the Holy Light Grenade with STR Rose, and then you're cooking. They're buffed up, they're doing 40 mil supers. I mean, they're better than a Golden Week TUR that we will not mention. Alright, let's get to the OG teams, guys. Let's get to the OG people who started this trend, these trends of units that you could grind up every day. It was a tedious grind, but what you got a full free-to-play team out of it, and that's the Ginyu Force. The Ginyu Force is an interesting one, too, because, again, at this time, there wasn't any Ginyu Force cards that were even relevant. The only relevant Ginyu cards we had was, of course, the Int Ginyu, the free-to-play one, and then the free-to-play LR Ginyu Force. And that's about it. Ginyu did not and still does not have a ton of representation. Of course, the Ginyu Force itself has a crap ton of representation in this game now due to the 3 LRs of the Ginyu Force. But it is kind of crazy that we only have 1 Dokkan Fest Ginyu for how many Ginyu stuff we have in this game, but I digress. This team is pretty solid. I mean, if you look at what they were able to do on release, I mean, the Captain Ginyu having 50% damage reduction is awesome. And the cool thing as well is, like, certain units on this team, again, for example, like the Int Ginyu, is not restricted to this team. Actually, this whole team is not, because even Jace just has a scouter. So not only did they make it a free-to-play team, but they made it to where they weren't restricted to their own team. And that's such a smart move, because a lot of times you want these guys to be used outside of their team. What if, like, you know, you're not running Ginyu Force and they're not relevant anymore? Or, like, what if you don't want to use Goldo, who only lowers attack and defense for 2 turns, and that's it. That's all he does, right? So it's just like, it's a very smart way to design these units to ensure that they're not just locked to the Ginyu Force team. They're good no matter what. I mean, Burger is a very valuable free-to-play unit to have, because he just has 50% dodge in slot 1, and he does have a Ginyu Force restriction on Easy A. Of course, he gets another 20% dodge. If there's a Ginyu Force ally on the team, he can get 70%. But still, if you're not running that, you can have 50% dodge in slot 1, which nowadays is not good. But back then, that's pretty incredible. So overall, this Ginyu Force team was really good. The LR made it just a nice whole team altogether, and they dominated a ton of content back in the day. Let's talk about the final team and their doppelganger, and that is the Team Bardock team. This team I don't really have, I wouldn't say the fondest memories for. I wouldn't say they're bad, but I just never really grinded for them, because I already had to grind for the Ginyu Force, and I was way too lazy to even put my foot forward for that. So then they also expected me to grind another set of teams with all the exclusive orbs, and you had to grab the copies. It's just so much to grind. And they were worth it for sure. For example, the Bardock had 50% damage reduction when you're running a full Team Bardock team. Now, unlike the Ginyu Force, these guys were restricted to the Team Bardock team. So, I mean, you definitely were required to grind all of them up and run the full team, but it is still pretty good. I mean, like Tora, for example, you didn't have to unless you wanted the heal that he gets under 70% HP. He did give all allies support, though, but really outside of that, I wouldn't say he was that strong. And then, of course, you have Fasha, who was really strong. Just being able to have that dodge and the orb changing that you get with her if you pair her with Bardock on the team. But again, overall, I could keep babbling about all the units that are on this team. It is a pretty well-oiled machine. I wouldn't say as much as the Ginyu Force, but I mean, 50% damage reduction, especially for when they released, which I mean, they released back in what, 2020, which is still, you know, decent. It's still a decent meta time, you know. But overall, they were really strong. Again, I still think the most dominant free-to-play team that was handed to us is going to be the Clones, but the Sandstock is definitely right behind them. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Do you guys agree with this list, or do you guys think there should be, you know, other teams added to this, like maybe more niche, not as niche, like the Earthlings team, or Joint Forces, or Kamehameha, or whatever that looks like? Let me know in the comments below. And if you guys enjoy the voice content, the first link is going to be all of my voice content videos, and the second link is going to be to all my Dokkan Battle content, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.